everybody. Thank you for being here. Since I'm sitting in a jungle in India, my bandwidth is very low. So I'm going to actually turn off the video on me so it actually can play the presentation. Go. You guys can see my screen?
Looks good.
Looks good. All right, so I'll jump right into it. And we've been, I think I know a bunch of all of you, and some of you have actually also been to the Kumbh Mela. Kurt, I'm looking at you. But it's exciting to share. It's a festival that doesn't happen every year. It's one of those bucket list items. People have reservations about the Kumbh Mela. They're like, oh, it's a lot of people. Do I really want to go there? Sort of questions, which I completely understand and get, especially after COVID. We call it the greatest show on earth for us. It's the largest human gathering on earth. You can literally see it from space. And once somebody described it to me as Burning Man of India, which I do agree with. A lot of quirky moments, lots of art, lots of spirituality, lots of different things. So I'll jump into it first by sort of explaining what the Kumbh really is. Now, the Kumbh Mela, it's if I dumb it down, I'm saying the good gods and the bad gods were fighting over a pot of immortality. When Lord Vishnu took the form, they were churning the ocean with Nagaraj, which is the great snake himself. Many wonderful treasures came out: the moon, the celestial dancers, the cow of plenty, and then came out the physician of the gods, holding the supreme treasure, which is the Amrit. And Amrit meant that if you drank it, it was the nectar of immortality. One of the gods, the son of Lord, runs with it and drops it in 4 different places, naturally in India, in 4 different places, which became the holy sites of where a Kumbh Mela would happen. Kumbh was the physical nectar that we talked about. Jayant, the god, ran for about 12 days. Hence, every 12 years because according to divine counting, the day of the gods is equal to 1 year of mortal being. So every day that they ran became 1 year in human life. Anyways, I know it's a lot to sort of understand, and I can, dive more into it, but I'd rather have you guys come in person and learn about it. The point is, when we get to this festival, we are going to go to a place called Allahabad, or now it's called Prayagraj, which is going to happen in January of 2025. So January and early February, all the way up to sort of 22nd, 23rd February 2025, this festival is going to happen. In the map that you see is calling it Allahabad, but they have renamed the city to Prayagraj. The Kumbh happens in 4 different cities: Haridwar, Prayagraj, Nasik, and Ujjain. The ones in Nasik and Ujjain happen in the summer. So we really don't go around marketing that festival just because it's just too hot to be in India at that time. But Haridwar was
Hey,
travel to that. And then the next big one will be.
We're
Sorry.
not seeing. There we go. Now we just got to the map. We're on the map now, the map slide. So you're a little bit behind. Amit, can you? And we lost him. Well, guys,
You're gonna have to take over, Tad.
Kurt, you're the only one on this call that I know for sure has been to the Kumbh. So I think I'm gonna draft you as the guest presenter. Actually, Kurt, while we can fill this dead air, can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Because you and Anne have been, I think, at least once.
Just once, but that's actually why I'm here, because I would just love to go back. Of all the trips I've done, around the world, the Kumbh was for me the deepest, most incredible experience. Just being able to, and I just let me know when Amit's back on, or maybe he'll chime in.
No, keep going, Kurt. Keep going.
Okay. No, keep going, Kurt. I'm here, but keep going.
Oh no, well, just that for me, staying in this incredibly well-located camp that was a beautiful place to retreat to every day, and I had guests, on that trip, not all of whom were as interested in immersing themselves as we were. But for me, even myself personally, invited a few guests, the more intrepid ones, and would just step down the steps from this incredible camp and just go wander. And you know, all these seekers come to be with their sadhu, or they come to find a new sadhu and a new spiritual community to join. And each of these communities are in these huge tents, the size of some of them, the size of a football field, and you never know what's going to happen when you go in. But that's the kind of adventure I like. And so we would wander in and we'd sit in the back and, you know, just observe, and then they'd see us and they would call us up to the front and come up on the stage and shower us with flowers and leis, and, you know, and it was, for them, they said, just a wonderful omen that we would, you know, come in as foreigners into their tents, and then we just have a chance to really learn about, you know, just their community, and so that's just a small little excerpt of what I am here today to be reminded of, and see if there's any possibility of my being able to go back.
Thank you, Kurt. Amit, you can hear us and we can see your slides again. So
Okay, good. Thanks, Kurt, so much. You know, I totally remember that actually time. Was how many years ago was it? You didn't come to the last one, the one before that you came to.
Yeah, it was the one before. Whenever, I can't remember the year actually.
Yeah. So, you know, the Kumbh is a city that's created, like Kurt described it. You know, it's tents. It's a tented city that's created completely for this. The military sort of steps in. If you look at the pontoon bridges that are here, you know, it's what it is before the Kumbh is the image above. What it becomes at the Kumbh is the bridges, which is at the bottom. This is for millions of people to come from all across the world, you know, mainly from India, to come and take a dip in the Ganges at that time of the year, which is considered auspicious. You can see it from space, as I said. You know, this is the largest gathering on Earth, which will happen in January, and on the auspicious days. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. But these are all sort of some images from the Kumbh festival. These are the Naga sadhus. The sadhus, this is in a way describing as the army of Shiva, you know, all naked, ash-covered bodies. They were the army. So this is the practice of martial arts that you're seeing. So amazing imagery that you can get at the Kumbh. So one of the best places to photograph. Everybody from your Art Wolf to Jimmy Nelson to all these famous photographers sort of come and bring small groups around the festival as well. These are all marching to the Ganges in order to take the first dip in the Ganges in the morning. So my questions is, that sounds so overwhelming. Why should we go there? I mean, people think that, you know, oh, so many people, why would I go to a festival like that? Does not look safe at all. I don't want my clients to get caught in a sea of people. But remember one thing, these images that I've just shown in the last couple of minutes has been all of something called the bathing days. There are 3 to 4 bathing days that will come during the Kumbh. And these are the days you will see millions of people come, as many as 10 million people in a day to come take a dip in the Ganges. And that becomes a little bit overwhelming. And I think that could be great for photographers, you know, who want to take the iconic shots of an army marching literally to the Ganges to take the dip in millions, and you're on a boat, if we manage to get a boat, because it's all around what permits you can get at that time of the year. But what I want you to understand with the Kumbh is it's the moments that you do the one-to-one. The sadhus of the Kumbh, the stories that you share, something that Kurt was saying, they'll call you up, they'll talk to you. You know, they're intrigued as much as you are. Just sitting with them, being able to sort of join them in their little bit of practice of the Kumbh that they're doing. Fascinating to photograph. They're always welcoming. Of course, you have to take permissions from them before you sort of photograph anybody at the Kumbh. But the stories, like, I'll give you example, many quirky moments, you know, sadhu walking on a private elephant that they're passing through the Kumbh, or somebody's on a camel. These random things do happen at the Kumbh all the time. I'm sitting here with, you know, a couple of clients. This is I think 5, 6 clients I was sitting with. 2 of the sadhus on the right speak perfect English. They were like, yeah, we used to be lawyers. we live under a tree now. It's been 10 years. And that's where the conversation starts. Somebody who used to have all the earthly possessions and now has given up everything for spirituality, for meditation, for just giving back. And that's how they live today. I said, how do you survive? Where do you get the food? He's like, the local village down the road gives me ration, a little bit of rice, a little bit of lentils, and that's enough for us. We don't need anything more than that. So, and there are thousands and thousands of these kind of people that you'll have these random conversations with, which is fascinating on how people's lives have changed doing what they do. These people were meditating for 24 hours nonstop with cow dung burning on the top of their heads. Incredible. They won't speak a word, they won't open their eyes. It's all around the smoke that's burning around them. That's what they're going to do for the next 24. This is their kind of commitment to God. Although it's such a religious festival, there is also so much fascination in seeing how things happen. You don't have to be religious to go to this festival. This is Mouse Baba. He literally has 3 mice who live on his head completely all the time. Random stuff, yes. The music Baba. Then we have, of course, the hashish and the smoking Babas who are all around as well. These are only yoginis. There are not many female sadhus. This is the only club of female sadhus that were there, which was very interesting because they were also very intrigued as foreigners to talk to foreigners as well. So we had many moments with them one-to-one. This is Rome Baba, who Kurt may know. Rome Baba got his name Rome Baba because he lived in Italy for 10 years and he speaks a little bit of Italian and he speaks Hindi, does not speak English, funny enough. He's somebody who's fun to have around clients and because he's just very expressive and he's our sort of key into this world. I've known Rome Baba for at least 15 odd years now. And he's our key to the world because we can get him to interact with the clients. We help get into other sadhu tents where general people don't have access. And he'll just sit there and start having a conversation and we can photograph anywhere. We can, just have our time of our lives, just talking to him, walking with him. This is his private tent with his little band of sadhus. He's again also a Naga sadhu, what I explained earlier. And we would just sit with him. Then we have Lakshmi Auntie, who I'll show in a second. This is, for example, an image of the initiation ceremony, which is when all the sadhus shave their heads, and this is how they're becoming sadhus. So all these people are something in their lives right now. They're an accountant, they work somewhere, they work in a factory, they're a lawyer, they're somebody. And now they're going into the spiritual world. They've given up everything. They're getting incepted into different clubs of Hinduism in their societies. And now they will take the path of a Swami in the long run. This is later the next day of the same people. So this is the Kumbh. This is to give you a good picture of how the tented city is made. Even Harvard University comes there to study how to make refugee cities, because this is literally that. You come in, you put in your tents, and you come out. How do you make organized? How do you provide electricity to everybody? How do you do sanitation, toilets, emergency services? How is it all done? And it's incredible that the Indian military sort of steps in and creates this in all the places that the Kumbh Mela goes. The camps that Kurt was just talking about is the camp right at the bottom here. Of the screen, which is the ultimate traveling camp, which was where we stayed the first time, and where we are creating another 8-room tented camp just at the bottom of that. So at the beginning of Kumbh is where all the camps are going to be, and we're going to walk into the Kumbh where many sadhus are going to be as well. The camps of the Kumbh. So I talked about these 2 camps. There'll be thousands of different types of accommodation, hundreds of different types of accommodations, accommodating pilgrims from all around. We are particularly working with 2. One is Naga Kutir, which will be done by one of my closest friends, and I'll explain more in a second, which will only have 8 rooms, intimate, more personalized. But again, this is something that's booking up over a year in advance. And then we have the TUTC Sangam Nibas, which is the ultimate traveling camp. Again, a beautiful product, but more rooms, 35 or so rooms will be there. This is the first one that we talked about, Lakshmi Singh. She's, Kurt, why don't you describe Lakshmi in a minute?
Just a beautiful, open-hearted, intelligent soul who listens and shares, her spiritual practice and her life, as a practitioner. around India, I guess mainly. I think she lives in India full time now, but she's really experienced in Western culture and just crosses that bridge really well. Just a really beautiful person to have be the ambassador to the Kumbh.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Lakshmi Aunty used to be, funny enough, travel industry many years ago. You ran tiger camps ages ago, and 25, 30 years ago, took one of those sort of dips in the Ganges and said, "This is it," at one of the Mahakumbh Melas. And she literally gave up all her sort of, earthly possessions in a way where she now dedicates her life to spirituality, lives under the Himalayas in Haridwar, has her own following, works with all these sadhus, and she will be definitely there running the camp and at the camp sharing her teachings all the time while the people are there. So she is our guiding light into Kumbh Mela. The tents will be very comfortable. There's nothing that will be that you will miss. It'll be winter, so a little bit of heating will be provided. The bathrooms will be running hot waters and showers. This is the other camp, the ultimate traveling camp, which will be more tents, but again, beautiful from the inside, proper restaurant sort of setup. But again, Kumbh, as I said, Kumbh is not going to be just about the camp that you stay in. It's about the people. It's about the connections. It's about how you get access into the world. So if somebody says that somebody is selling the Kumbh for $100, it's not about the money. It's about who do they know and are they really taking you to show. You don't want to go to the Kumbh and just see it from outside. You want to experience and actually immerse in the Kumbh. That is a transformational experience going to the Kumbh. And to be able to do that, you want the right mentor to mentor you through it too. And we're not there to sort of, and whoever wants to take a deep dive into that world can absolutely get more and more interested and follow up later about it. But you're only spending 3 nights, so we want you to see it from a distance and still be able to, think about where you are and what you experience with all these sadhus and what you take back home from you. I know I jumped through a lot of things in the last, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, but here my idea is to show you in a bigger way what the Kumbh is, why the Kumbh is where it is, what camps will you stay at, and who will guide you through these experiences once you sort of book through one of us, to go to the Kumbh Mela. The dates of the Kumbh will start around 13th or 14th. It actually will start on 13th of January. And go all the way till 27th of February, but we will only run it till about 21st, 22nd, just because we feel that after that point on, the crowds start to die down. And then you can make many ideal combinations with the Kumbh. So that's a little bit about the Kumbh. I'm going to jump a little bit more into sort of tribes. I apologize. I just picked that image off the internet of India. But just to give you an idea of where Nagaland is, so I thought I would start with the Hornbill Festival, where 13 remote tribes come together. An amazing festival which happens from 1st to 10th of December. Excellent for photography. This is all in the northeast of India. Many will say they don't even look Indian. They're very much Indian in the northeast corner of India. So tribes are everywhere throughout the country, and this festival sees thousands of them come together, all from the Naga region in the northeast of the country. They're pulling a rock in this particular case, which is tied with vines. They're chanting Om in the valley. So that was the tribes in the northeast of India. I focused particularly around the festival because that's the best time to sort of see them in their gear. The festival is definitely made up for tourists about 15 odd years ago, but still as an experience is amazing to see how they used to live. If you go today, they'll be more in jeans and t-shirt. then diving right completely west of the country into the Run of Kutch, where again, incredible tribes. The embroidery from here goes to the best fashion houses in Europe. The different communities in the Run of Kutch, which is like Bolivia style salt plains, where this particular family owned 60, 70 camels. It was incredible spending a day or two with them. This is another completely different tribe, again in the Gujarat region. So just in there are hundreds and thousands. We as a country speak 325 languages, over 2,000 dialects. Within tribal culture, there's even hundreds and hundreds of more languages that they communicate within themselves. Some are nomadic, some aren't. They all have their specialty on what they are good at. In this particular case, it's all about fabric. It's all about embroidery that goes to different parts. So if you have any clients who are particularly interested in that, I think textiles, particularly Gujarat, is one of the most amazing places to go or something like that. A trip like this can easily be combined with Rajasthan, with Gujarat, lions in Gujarat, and made different combinations. So these are parts of India which people aren't touching so much. And I think, especially in the American market, there just isn't enough exposure to things like that. These are all photographs from Gujarat, which I photographed about 3 years ago now. This is an incredible tribe which has never been photographed properly before. And I'd like to sort of keep it that way. So we don't really operate groups in this particular area. We only stick to FITs. So my particular story, some of you know me already. My story is more in wildlife. My grandfather started something called Project Tiger in India, which established many national parks through the country, particularly Project Tiger reserves, starting with the first 9 tiger reserves, and then there's over 50 tiger reserves in the country. So our background of making wildlife camps, tiger camps, doing wildlife tourism since the early 80s was something that we used to do. And we evolved, and after my father passed through the 2000s and early 2000s, we changed our philosophy of just doing wildlife and moving on to doing other things like the Kumbh Mela, the festivals, getting remoter into tribes. How can we make those experiences, those transformational experiences with clients traveling throughout the country? Because India is such a fascinating destination in itself. One of the things that we embarked upon about like 16, 17 years ago was getting deeper into the Himalayas. When we talk about India, when we talk about wildlife, people say India and Africa, but people always have to remember that India is a country and Africa is a continent. Having said that, we have every landscape in this country, from the Thar Desert to the west, Himalayas to the north, dense jungles in central and southern India's, mangroves, you name it, we have it. And when it comes to wildlife, that is tigers, leopards, wild dogs, bears, wild elephants, wild buffaloes, Asiatic lions, striped hyenas, snow leopards, crocodiles, rhino, we have it all. It's one of the only sort of success stories in the world where we have 1.4 billion people, and we have been able to survive everything within it. All the wildlife that was here, hundreds of years ago is still here. And the only thing that vanished was the cheetah, the Asiatic cheetah, which we have reintroduced back into the wild today. It's the only sort of big predator reintroduction back into the wild. So they're getting 53 cheetahs over the period of 5 years and reintroducing them back into the wild in India. So we will have a cheetah again soon. Today, there's still, the tiger population is actually very healthy in India compared to what it was 20 years ago. And we have 80% of the world's tiger population as well today. But here, I'm not touching upon tigers today. I'm just quickly going to touch upon snow leopards as well. Something that about 16, 17 years ago, I got up into the Himalayas, and not many people had seen snow leopards in the wild. It wasn't commercialized so much for tourism, and started going to these amazing landscapes, which we have up in Ladakh. This is a summer destination generally, but we went there in the winters. And the first time we went there, it was all about sort of monks, monasteries, remote, nobody, in our hotels when we stayed. Only a few hotels used to be open. And that over time has become bigger and bigger, and there are definitely a lot more people. So when we go up to Ladakh, we landed at this incredible place which is called Leh, and we landed about 3,400 meters. The landscape, as you can see, is incredible once you land up there. This is the town of Leh, which even has an ice skating rink, which is incredible coming from Canada. monasteries. Again, no tourists in the winter, which is incredible. To being able to just sit with them, spend time. You can photograph, you can take videos. They don't care, they don't mind. They'll offer you tea. So an experience with where there are very few places left in the world where you can truly call remote. You can truly call that there aren't many tourists here where you're going to, and this is one of them. I completely feel this is one of them. Amazing landscapes. I'm not expecting anybody to do trekking on this trip because the vehicles drive everywhere, almost everywhere, in the same. But yes, I need people to be able to walk. I don't want anybody to come on a walking stick. If you can do hikes and walks back in the United States, you're good to go on this trip. Acclimatization is not too bad, 3,400 meters. So you're acclimatized for about 2 days and you're good to go in sceneries and landscapes like this. And of course, we are there for the prize, the snow leopards. And we've had incredible sightings in the last 15, 20 years. People ask me what is a success rate. There's no way to sort of measure that because it changes all the time. But 80% of the time you see snow leopards, many times you see them far away. Just to be honest, these images look amazing. And yes, you get like one or two groups that do take images like this every season, but a lot of the sightings are quite far away from a scope. Sometimes you'll come out with one snow leopard sighting, sometimes with 6 or 8. So there are different experiences. Yaks, ibex, lammergeiers, golden eagles, wolves, fox, tons of opportunities of seeing other wildlife as well. So it's not just the snow leopard that you're going for. You stay in great accommodation. So there's a couple of options now. One is the Snow Leopard Lodge, which, as you can see from the image, it is quite remote, the true idea of remote, but very comfortable from the inside. These are some amazing trackers that work up there, the lodge. So quite comfortable. This beats the 10 years of camping I did up there, which was just miserable. And this if we are hiking and walking, people say how much of trekking we are doing. I'm emphasizing we are hiking, we are walking, but we're not trekking. And how much will I maximum walk a day? I would say an hour and a half to the max, because the vehicles will go up, you will walk a little bit, you'll get back in vehicles, you walk a little bit. Are you carrying your own gear? But we also have many people that will be helping you carry your own gear as well. of the snow leopards. This is another camp that's come up. Lungbarn, a little bit more comfortable, definitely more expensive, a lot more expensive. So it also fits in for FIT clientele that are joining like a small group. The bigger difference is definitely they have running water. That you know how much difference that makes a lot. Sometimes when you have showers and running water, whereas the Snow Leopard Lodge, everything is handed over in the buckets. They still do their best to give you the water and hot water as well. It's not like there isn't water. There's water on both sides, but it's a little bit more posh. Amazing landscape again in this particular area as well. And these are the suites that they have. Then the other rooms that they have are tents. So, two different configurations of what they have. So snow leopards can be done in two different ways. That one is a more community-owned, community-run lodge. This one is a little bit more privately owned and a little bit more for pish-posh clients, some who want comforts up there in Ladakh. Tad, how are we doing for time?
That was great, Amit. Right on. I have a couple questions that I'll jump in with, and then if anybody else has questions, please feel free to either drop them into the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know and ask your questions. But I'll just start, Amit. That was great to really get some an insight into some of the things that you can do that are far off the beaten path in India, both from a cultural perspective and then, of course, that wildlife experience with the snow leopards. That video always gets me when those cats are wrestling down the snowy slopes. Just incredible. But going back to the Kumbh, you said it's open or that it runs generally from about 13th of January until February 27th. Are your camps open throughout that period? And how long do people typically stay? How many days or nights are they typically staying at the Kumbh?
Yeah, you're looking at about 3 nights that you want to spend at the Kumbh. You take more interest in your photography, a small photography group, maybe 4 nights, but 3 nights is generally enough because it becomes overwhelming. Remember, Kumbh is on all the time, right? In that time period, even at night. So there's hymns, there's loud noises that will happen. So you're not getting soundproof tents out here. You are getting, yes, there'll be noise. You'll still be able to sleep. But mind you, the Kumbh also after 3 days or 4 days, you want to be like done with it and sort of move on. So that's the time period I would suggest. And yes, the camp will be on all the way till up to 23rd or so February. Will definitely be on. Running. The TUTC camp might be on longer till about 26, 27, but I don't recommend anybody to come after 23rd or so, just because all the people then start to move to Varanasi, which is this other amazing city in India, because that's where they go for the big dip for Shivratri, which is happening on the 26th.
And that actually leads me to my other question, which is what do you typically combine the Kumbh with elsewhere in India? Varanasi, what else?
Varanasi is an obvious combination because it's only 2-3 hours away. We can actually drive to Bandhavgarh, which is where I am right now, which is excellent for tigers, but it is a little bit longer dive, 7 to 8 hours. Although having said that, it does beat getting on a connecting flight to go see tigers. So it is a little bit longer drive, but definitely possible. Going forward, I think in the coming months, we're going to see a lot of flights being introduced into Prayagraj, where the Kumbh is happening, on what the connections we can make. So from that point on, we'll be able to suggest more combination. Right now, the safer option is Varanasi is a very well-connected city. So maybe if you start at the Kumbh, come to Varanasi, we can do Calcutta, we can do Hyderabad, we can go down to Jaipur, get into Rajasthan, the Golden Triangle for a first time. I see the Taj Mahal, do things like that, or head to the Tigers, head to southern India. So many combinations can be made. It totally depends on the interest of the client. We are doing different things for different companies, and I think it totally depends on the client, what the client's interest is. So it doesn't have to be an all spiritual trip, or it doesn't have to be all, people aren't into it. They're just fascinated by the festival. They want to go see it, move on from it. They want to go see Taj Mahal, go stay in a palace, do some luxury here, maybe go see some tigers. Totally can be done.
And you mentioned that this starts to book up a year in advance, which is where we're at right now. What kind of space is available for both small groups as well as and also just in terms of FITs, you can book FITs as well. It doesn't have to be a small group, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely book in FITs. What we are doing I'm quite invested in the Nagakuti, the small camp, 8 room, intimate sort of, and I love that whole idea of not being in a bigger hotel for the Kumbh, because Kumbh is such a personal place that you want to be in. At this point, we have sold quite a bit of the small camp, but having said that, there'll be lots of groups that will not sell the entire 8 rooms. There'll be 2 rooms here, 2 rooms there, and there's still space in February to book into the camp. So if you have a client that you're specifically thinking this about, and you already know that client is ideal for this, then talk to us sort of today, sort of thing that it will, but we are 80% already sold into that. Having said that, the TUTC camp, which is right next door, is also going to be a really nice camp. We're going to actually, we're putting together a team which should become experienced curators for the Kumbh. So we may be staying there, eating their meals, doing everything else. And this is very personal opinion. The last time I was there and I stayed at the TUTC, I didn't think that their guys were trained enough to deal with the Kumbh. Somebody who came, it was their first rodeo, and I don't want Kumbh to be somebody's first rodeo showing you around, because Kumbh is overwhelming at the end of the day. So hence, we will get our experienced people who will take you from TUTC, not groups, but more FIT focused stuff, into the festival. So yes, do start booking, because even that camp is going to book up pretty quickly.
And then my last question, and then anybody else, feel free to jump in, or we'll let you go to bed, Amit, since you've got an early morning tomorrow. Around photography kind of rules and ethics, it seems that at the Kumbh in particular, that there's, people are welcome to take photos, to take videos. How do you guys manage that? Is there some sort of, again, are there rules that you live by in terms of photography there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, you have to seek permission. You have to seek permission from the sadhus that you're going to photograph. It is not sort of free for all. It's not like you can just pick up your camera, start photograph. You can take random shots, no problem. But if a specific sadhu is meditating or doing prayer, you have the respect of either photographing from far away, and that's okay. But if the sadhu thinks that, you're in his space, they will, in the worst case scenario, they'll pick up a rock and throw at your camera. That does happen every Kumbh. It is something that is no. So you just need to know how to navigate the Kumbh, in which case our guys will do that for you. That's the whole point of a guided Kumbh. I don't want you randomly walking, because you can insult somebody and they're not going to think you are a foreigner or not a foreigner. They will get angry. So, we definitely recommend being a lot of the times those sadhus want, they want money. We got that pocket change on us, don't worry. And we'll be doing that for you while you go. You now start getting into studio photography, then you pay out of your pocket, and we'll tell you how much it's going to cost. But the point is, if you're just walking down and saying, oh, that's an amazing image, can I sit down for a minute? Can I do? Absolutely, you can do all that. Can I take a picture? Sometimes you'll just point the camera and say it's okay, and the guy will say no, not okay, or very okay. So all those things have to be sort of looked at. Generally in India, photographing is not a problem. Every kid wants to be photographed, every couple wants to be photographed, everybody wants a selfie with you. Kumbh, it's a money-making scheme as well. So, that's their Diwali in a way, as we call it.
Kurt, this is a great comment here from somebody with experience. Going to the Kumbh and adding a bigger itinerary around it is combining it with Varanasi, the best time to experience Varanasi, because many of the sadhus go hang out at the Ganges in Varanasi before or after the festival, which becomes a really intimate way to interact with them everywhere along the river. And I can say from my own personal experience, Varanasi is just an absolute cultural and spiritual immersive experience. And I haven't been to the Kumbh yet, but Varanasi is a very, very small snapshot of what the Kumbh would be like every single day. So agreed, Kurt, it's a great combination. And really, I mean, the cultural and spiritual hub of Hinduism as well is Varanasi. Kurt, anything else you wanted to share before we let Amit go to bed so he can get up early tomorrow?
I guess just that, like the rest of India, the way Amit operates there, but at the Kumbh, it's just really, we had a range of guests, not some of whom were intimidated by the Kumbh, and so to be able to have the camp there for some that just kind of hung out there and just dipped their toes in the Kumbh, and then we were able to walk back. It just was, it's a beautiful way to manage the different capacities that clients have to experience the Kumbh. And just like we always said to people too, anywhere you go in India, put as much of your budget into accommodations as you can, because at the end of the day, it's a really nice respite to come back and have quiet and a good meal to get ready for the next day in India.
Well said, good advice. And certainly at the Kumbh, that is the case, and then some. That oasis at the end of the day is critical in a place where there really is it's a feast for the senses in all facets. So Kurt, thank you for joining. I promise everybody, Kurt wasn't a plant. He is he's a great friend and mentor of Amit's and mine from many years. And Kurt, it was great to have you here. And thanks for jumping in when we lost connection with Amit. Amit, anything else from Bandhavgarh before you head off?
No, I think I mean, it's a fascinating festival, and I'm marketing this, but I'm also telling you while I'm doing this is not everybody is the right fit for the Kumbh. So you just have to know your customer. You have to know your client who will enjoy this and who is ready to sort of understand the Kumbh. And you're not, I mean, you're not there the entire time you're in India. It is a part of an experience of 3 nights while you're there. So treat it like that. And I think there will be such amazing clients that'll come out and say, that was the best thing I ever did, like Kurt said, and will become a repeat client of yours in the future as well, because you do such amazing stuff.
Awesome. Great, Amit. Thanks for the time. Go get to bed. Have a great safari in the morning. Thank you to everybody else who joined us today. If you missed any of the presentation, it has been recorded, and we will send out a link to you. You can catch up on anything you missed later. Have a great rest of the day ahead, guys. Have a good night, Amit. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you guys. Bye.